So welcome again, all of you. We are live on YouTube now. I'll just share these also here. You can always go back and revisit all the sessions we've had. Just subscribe to our channel so that you can also learn. Welcome all. I'm Lawrence. I'm with Luis, and this Bitcoin 101 presented to you by the Crypto Edge, where we do crypto education, and more so we do research and share with our friends and family more on what is happening in the world. So today's topic is crypto regulation and its effects. A lot of countries are talking about, do we ban Bitcoin? Do we ban cryptocurrencies? Do we accept it? Do we take it as an asset? Do we take it as a medium of exchange? How do we treat it? What are the effects of regulation? So I want to pass this button to Luis so that he can share with us today's session. I'll be coming back with the news. In case you have any questions, just drop it on the chat room. I'll be there answering any questions you have. So let me just make Luis the host so that he can go ahead and share with us today's topic.
All right. Thank you so much, Lawrence, for the introduction. I think today is we're going to learn quite a few things about regulations, because I think that is, I'm sure that's one thing that maybe people have been asking: how do I get into something that is not regulated, or that is that they're considering regulating? So for us, remember, it's just to give us an insight, to give us a way. We're not promoting any company. We are just giving you information to enable you to make better decisions. So Lawrence and myself, of course, we are doing this out of passion, out of interest for you to learn, because this is something that is growing, and it's very important that you know what is happening within the ecosystem. Not only Bitcoin, not only a few cryptocurrencies, but the whole ecosystem on how it's going to work with the current system. So I'm going to share my screen, and remember, this is a recorded Zoom on our YouTube, so you can always revisit this later if you want to watch it. So let me share my screen, and then we'll get right to it. So I'm just going to go a few things before getting to the point of whether regulations, what kind of impact is going to have. So it's good to define first when, I mean, if at all this will ever be regulated or not. So I hope you're able to see my screen. I hope you're able to hear me. Just confirm to me so that at least I know, maybe with the chat before we get started. And remember, you can always follow our Facebook page, also the channel, whereby Telegram, where we share with you information every day on how the industry is doing and going. And of course, the last part of this session, Lawrence will be doing a new summary of what happened this week. So that is also very important, so that at least you're in the picture. So jumping right to it, I mean, I'm sure we always ask ourselves, will Bitcoin ever be regulated? That is one thing that maybe is in your mind. And when I talk about Bitcoin, I'm not like forgetting the other cryptocurrencies. It's always the entire cryptocurrency ecosystem. But in this case, I'm talking about Bitcoin because Bitcoin is the most valuable cryptocurrency. It's the first one, and it's actually the one that is mostly used. So, as you can see over there, popular questions from hardline cryptocurrency advocates and mainstream investors, and probably even you, as I've said, you actually may have panel of it. And some of the other questions that you may be having is like, how can cryptocurrency be regulated? Or, I mean, will crypto ever be regulated? Or what happens if crypto gets regulated? Otherwise, people ask who regulates cryptocurrency if it is possible. And then some of the other question is, how can government regulate Bitcoin and its alternatives? Because that, of course, is usually what I've seen happening all across people that I meet, people that interact. Those are some of the questions that they normally ask. So to explore these questions, we first must understand that Bitcoin and most other alternative tokens or digital assets are in fact decentralized. And the keyword is most, meaning, of course, we have other tokens that are centralized, which is not any different from the current ways of doing things. So I'm focusing on the aspect of the coins that are decentralized, or the tokens that are decentralized, because that's where now regulation comes in. So What does this mean? In essence, the supply of cryptocurrency tokens is not set by a central authority or government. So that is what it means being decentralized. It is the supply of the cryptocurrencies or tokens is not set by a central authority. It also relates to cryptocurrencies as a medium of exchange, where transaction using blockchain can be conducted, authenticated, recorded in a public ledger without any third-party interference. That is what actually decentralized blockchain mean. So, looking at China, China recently, of course, took headlines shutting down exchanges and also actually miners, people who basically verify transactions, basing on the fact that they are shutting them down through what you call land use regulation. They're using the laws of the land to discourage them from operating. Of course, we've had the talk about green energy and the likes. So, sticking to what we are talking about today, the problem with regulating Bitcoin and other currencies is that they are conducted over a P2P network, that is meaning peer to peer. While governments have been very successful in regulating, venues such as Pirate Bay, Silk Road, and other cryptocurrencies platforms that were there before, uh, that is very different from what we have today because transactions can be conducted over exchanges. That is where what P2P means. And of course, through wallets, my wallet to your wallet, there is no third party. That is the main difference. But when you're talking about the likes of Pirate Pay and Silk Road, there were platforms. So that was very hard to, it was very easy for governments to go and clamp them. So it does not mean that government is completely helpless against cryptocurrency regulations. They are not. Some maybe will think they are there, but let's look at ways government can crack down on cryptos because it's very important we know about the ecosystem before first talking about the impact. So the number one way that a government could regulate cryptocurrencies is by taxing any fiat money you use to cash out a virtual token. Fiat money meaning you are selling your cryptocurrency or digital asset into cash. So you are converting your gains that you've acquired on the cryptocurrency industry. You are converting them into cash. So that is where now the government may come in. So the main caveat is that with this is that this would have to apply to specific tokens, and the cryptocurrency owner could simply turn to other coin to cash out their gains. So beyond this, mainly early adopters, the likes of you and hardlines, cryptocurrencies, we prefer cryptocurrencies as a medium of exchange for basic goods and services over traditional fiat currencies. So that is one thing there to note. So globally, now we get now to now the workings of how regulation will in case take place globally. And case in point, the US cryptocurrencies fall under the jurisdiction of the SEC for investment. That is now the Securities Exchange Commission. The CTFC for any crimes involving interstate commerce, and the IRS making it subject matter either in income or capital gains tax. So you can see there, we can see three sectors of government that are involved when it comes to regulations. So of course we'll have a look at Kenya as we go by. I'll look at that. So the SEC, of course, that is the Securities Exchange Commission, that is from the US, recently approved one Bitcoin futures ETF. Of course, these are instruments that are being used to trade cryptocurrencies, or that is over the CBOE, and one over CME, that is the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. So these are just instruments that are used to trade the underlying asset of now of Bitcoin. No other features ETFs have been issued at this time. Of course, we've seen a couple of applications that have been submitted by companies to issue such tokens. So, of course, in the recent past, that is, I think, was 2 months ago, 3 months ago, the CFTC subordinated major crypto exchanges, that is Bitfinex and Theta. Theta is the stable cryptocurrency that is pegged on one to one to the dollar. So they've been asked to basically verify over $2.3 billion in reserves. This is what is used to issue the tokens. And to date, they haven't actually been able to prove where they are producing that theta. So these are some of the challenges that would come now in terms of cryptocurrencies. And of course, with such, we normally see prices changing in because now that is basically people not being sure of how that goes. So this diagram here, of course, would show you how complex the regulation system is in the US. So this was done by I picked this from Jimmy Dimon, that is the guy in charge of Goldman Sachs. They were doing basically analysis on how the crypto, or rather the current financial system will interact with cryptocurrencies. So look at how that is juggled up, and that is how complex it is to regulate cryptocurrencies. Or on the first box on your left, you can see that is the SEC. You have the CFTC. You have Office of the Control of Currency. You have the Fed. You have Office of Federal Reserve. Basically, there are a lot of what do you call it? Um, Places or other authorities you have to basically they have to be all speaking one thing. You can see how that clogged up is, and that is now the challenges, or that the challenge that comes into regulating cryptocurrencies. But of course, it doesn't mean that there's no way. There is a way. Of course, you have to do things step by step. So, if you, in case you want to have the document, always let us know the chat, so we'll be able to share the document. So, let's come back to Kenya. How is the Kenyan regulation like platform is? So I took this from a law firm called Bowmans, who did a very good analysis also. So look at that. In Kenya, we have the CMA, we have the CBK. That is, I'm reading from the right side, the right side of what you're seeing. You have the CMA and CBK. Yeah, of course, we may have Insurance Regulation Authority. We may have Communications Commissions Authority. So all that, of course, they were looking in fintech in relation to now cryptocurrencies, and you can see how that is complicated. But that complication is what now makes cryptocurrencies interesting, because you have to. It's basically disrupting the way things have been happening. So with the of course what we've seen, it now of course makes people ask, is it safe or is it crazy as it is? So we'll take a few examples or other points to look at the advantages of having a decentralized cryptocurrency in view of what I've just mentioned up there. So number one, of course, transaction on any decentralized platform cannot be reversed. That is number one. Number two, without online Go or URL platforms, users retain anonymity until they cash out or exchange their tokens. So there is anonymity, some form of anonymity. So, of course, another thing, most currencies have set supply, which will cool inflation as mining more currency become harder. So, this addresses, of course, one point about currencies, the normal fiat, which is actually one of the key reasons why cryptocurrencies were existed. The other point is investors can execute smart contracts without third parties. That is another advantage. Of course, we also have less transaction fees and credit card. Of course, if you compare now with the current ways of doing business. And then another thing, there is no paperwork for investing in a token, unlike a share. If you want to buy any cryptocurrency, all you need is of course, is your phone. You go to your Play Store and you get a wallet, or you sign up in an exchange. Simple as that. There is no paperwork. And then the other thing is there's increased competition following for greater consumer choice. So that is where you've seen there's a lot of cryptocurrencies. We've seen a lot of CBDCs coming up. So everybody is trying to create their own like cryptocurrency or a asset, a digital asset together for their need. And then of course, currencies can be issued for special privileges or merit within the decentralized applications and other blockchain functions. So I think this basically, in terms of it's in terms of looking at cryptocurrencies as an asset, and of course, all these tokens you can access them anywhere. That is one of the key advantages that you have with digital currencies. That is the advantage. Now, the challenges of which now will I'll go now to the point of what are the impact of regulating cryptocurrencies. So the biggest problem with the current monetary policy is that federal interest rates are arbitrarily issued. We've seen how even recently the US just, I think they had to adjust the interest rates. So that of course affects how much you are if you know what money is. And of course, Bitcoin, of course, is all different because we are looking at how this is going to address that problem of inflation that is in the other in the long term perspective. So major problems, of course, with cryptocurrencies, is volatility in the market affects the token ability to serve as a medium of exchange, because that is the bottom line of what cryptocurrencies are being talked about now. Using a currency, or rather a cryptocurrency, as a medium of exchange. You are paying for something, you are buying for something, you use it for. So that with the volatilities, it becomes very difficult for you to use it. And of course, high speculation and artificial pricing continue to persist. You see price moving 10%, 20% within a day or within 2 days. So that is not good as a medium of exchange. Of course, many cryptocurrencies still face scalability issues in terms of how many transactions that can be done within a day or within a block. So that is the challenge. And then, of course, many blockchain networks struggle to keep up with the demand. We've seen recently Ethereum had to scale because the fees were too high. So those are some of the things that, or challenges that have come of age with cryptocurrencies. So as I come to the end of the session, the last part, as as I've seen the above, of course, price volatility, long-term legal status, which is actually what I'm going to talk about, and barriers to purchasing remain a concern, because for you to buy a cryptocurrency, of course, you need to know how to use a wallet. You need to sign up in an exchange, which at times becomes a problem or a challenge. So let's look at 8 points on why and how regulations can benefit crypto industry in general, because that is some form of impact that it will have as well. So number one, regulation creates binary virtual asset ownership. So that is one of the points that maybe I wanted to for us to note. Because with the regulations, assets will be defined in two, because when you regulate, you have to define. So either regulated or unregulated. So tying the real world identities of crypto owners to virtual asset passing through, that is exchanges, or rather called the VASPs, the crypto industry will go to clean up its act, because we've seen a lot of people complaining about they are being hacked, they have lost they have lost money, money in terms of cryptocurrencies. So when all this is cleaned up, of course, it will enable more people to have more confidence. So exchanges and regulators can better identify and isolate and shield virtual currencies from those stated by money laundering, terrorism, and many other more. So once you define that something is regulated or unregulated, of course, that creates more clarity. Number two, regulation makes virtual assets easy to categorize and understand. That is one of the positive impact. So presently, crypto-friendly financial institutions and banks are very rare. Of course, they are of course the biggest people who are not talking good about cryptocurrencies. So this can directly be attributed to the long view legal uncertainty of virtual assets and the time draining costly AML and KYC. So we've seen a lot of requirements nowadays. If you want to register on an exchange or rather in any form of cryptocurrency trading, you have to upload your ID, your passport, your proof of address. So that is, of course, some of the challenges that is hampering people to get on board. So part of this also, I think, in terms of making virtual assets as in to be categorized, we've seen the impact that regulation is having on industry with the recent delisting of several privacy coins. So this kind of regulation is forcing exchanges to delist any coins that does not like give the exchange to know the person who is dealing with it. So these are some of the things that is now we've seen coming up that in the past they're not there. So this is actually one of the good impact that will bring to cryptocurrency. Number three, regulation gives financial institutions green light to invest. So, of course, once something has been regulated, most financial institutions will want to buy in. Already they are, but in a small bit, not compared to the biggest. How big, I mean, financial institutions, there are very many companies out there. So authorities and financial institutions move notoriously slow when it comes to technical innovation, which is true, and that doesn't rule out governments. Of course, thanks to outdated systems, bureaucracy, cross-border monetary decisions, and little financial impetus to change the status quo. That is actually the biggest problem. So with regulations, this will be eased up. So of course, this of course can be witnessed in the panic knee-jerk reaction from authorities. And recently, of course, we saw Nigeria banning, like they come out saying they ban Bitcoin trading. Tanzania before they actually banned cryptocurrency. Just the last week, the president said urged the central bank to have a look at cryptocurrencies and blockchain just recently. And of course, Libra, that is one of the projects by Facebook. The US had actually banned it completely. So these are some things that with more regulations, it will give clarity to companies to play on. So remember, if you have any question, remember to put it on the chat. We'll actually take on it at the end of the session. So the fourth point, as I come to the tail end of this session, is that regulation puts an accurate valuation on a cryptocurrency's worth. So once something is regulated, of course there'll be a benchmark in terms of the value of it, and of course not a raise in price, because that is what actually most investors look at. People want to see prices going up, and they don't want to see prices coming down. So that is what this regulation will kind of put clarity. So a high cryptocurrency, by the way, is not necessarily a good thing. Bitcoin's parabolic climb in the late 2017 and recently by 2021, we've seen both, of course, we've seen very big retraces, meaning the price normally corrects by what, 50, 60%. And of course, that puts investors into massive losses if they sell the cryptocurrencies. And of course, they are selling it because they haven't defined really what this kind of asset class is. Sometimes it's overvalued or undervalued, which is some kind of manipulation. But of course, you have to know why you're coming to cryptocurrency space. Such regulations, of course, will put clarity. And of course, many virtual asset providers are slowly encouraging people to learn, people to understand the kind of system that they are getting on board. So that is with that. What was it? Number five. Regulations will help transform cryptocurrency from purely speculative to usable assets. So knowing the parameters in which they can operate, cryptocurrency projects will be able to move beyond the current tightly controlled pilot programs and sandbox testing and offer big business customized solutions to existing problems without having fear of backlash from regulators. So that is what one of the key reasons or advantages if ever cryptocurrencies are regulated, because people now will not look it as a speculative but as a usable item. Number six, regulations will make virtual asset ownership more secure. So clear and actionable regulations will pave way to a much needed control layer for virtual asset custodians. That is, now we are talking about the people who are helping you buy and sell these cryptocurrencies, the exchanges. We've also seen some exchanges rejecting suspicious transactions and freeze irregular transmittal of cryptocurrencies. Recently, we saw there was a ransom paid by a company in the US, and of course, they were able to go to the exchange and actually freeze the particular crypto assets. So these are kind of regulations that is slowly coming up in place in case of bad actors who are using cryptocurrency for bad things. Number seven, regulation encourages investment into research and development. That is the other thing. So The expect of influx of financial institutions into a regulated currency space should result in massive brain gain, meaning they'll want to develop more things on this layer once it is regulated and once it is clear. And then lastly, number eight, regulation improves the efficiency of virtual asset trading. So regulated crypto markets will future-proof compliant virtual asset transmittals and allow it to be sent to almost any location. So meaning, what it means is that banks will be able to banks and any other financial institutions will be able to use these cryptocurrencies openly because there's meaning that you not be able to do like what you call to be frustrated by these KYCs that are time consuming. So it will be very much easy to it will be efficient, so to say, and that of course will encourage more people to come on board. So in summary, as I close, no matter the hundreds of opinions and debates over cryptocurrency craze, it has the potential to completely disrupt monetary policy and, of course, how we use currencies across the globe. So, with hundreds of new tokens offered each month, every day, even today, I'm sure there are new assets being created. It seems as though the effort to regulate cryptocurrencies will forever remain a game of cat and mouse. You've seen how complex it is. But with the 8 points I've mentioned, it shows that it is actually better. It will actually encourage more people to come on board the cryptocurrency space. And then, of course, as I finish, ultimately the benefits of regulations brings will vastly outweigh negatives over the long run. So there is more positive to it than the negative. So I think that basically summarize my session. I hope that was insightful. If you want this document, you can always chat me up. Then I can share on the chat. Let me see if there's any question as I pass the mic back to Lawrence for the news. And remember, you have these questions. We have these sessions every Saturday at 10. So let me see the chat if there's any question. So, Luis, could you kindly have an overview? Okay. Okay, so let me just should maybe show that then as I send the hosting rights back to Lawrence. Just a minute. Okay, let's see. Share. Yeah, but and if you want the document, I can always the whole document for 4 months. Just get in touch with us, and I'll be able to share the document. So that is the current like platform of how Kenya's regulations is in terms of cryptocurrencies. Those are some of the bodies that they have to stay in line. So with that, I think thank you very much, and then hope to see you next week as well. So thank you and. I'll be in the chat for any questions that you may have. For that, see you.
So great sharing, Luis. Thanks for that. I'm sure for people who followed us from the time we started, you've seen regulation at times is not bad, but at times it can also lead to, like Luis said, a game of cat and mouse. Because as we're speaking today, even like right now, there are people who are coming up with cryptocurrencies. And we saw like in 2016, 2017, we had the issue of ICOs, initial coin offering, and a lot of scams happened and a lot of people lost their money. So regulation is good because it defines, once it's done in a good way to enhance or to help grow innovation, it's good. But we know in most cases where people can use also regulation to hinder innovation. So it all depends on how different governments can really set aside and come up with things that will help, not kill the dream or the innovation. So to the news, allow me to share my screen in a few. Just 1 second. Let's see what has been happening across the globe. And of course, I start with Texas. US. And I'll just be briefly going through the news, and then in case you need any of these links, you can always ask for them. So we start with Texas governor signs groundbreaking cryptocurrency bill into law. Well, we've been talking about crypto regulation, and you can see now it's happening. It's happening. Texas Governor Greg Abbott has signed a bill that recognizes a legal status of virtual currencies. And of course, this is good because now it gives things like Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies a good name. I think governments have always been saying cryptocurrencies are they're like gambling. It's like you're gonna lose all your money. It's not something tangible. But when law comes in, it gives people more belief in the technology and the cryptocurrency. Moving from there, we go to Tanzania. Luis has mentioned about these, and I really like the fact that Tanzanian president urges central bank to prepare for cryptocurrency. This is good news for Africa. This is good news for Africa. Tanzania's president wants the country's central bank to begin exploring Bitcoin and digital assets. And I like the fact that she said, if we don't, our citizens we will go all out, because through internet they can interact, and the central bank will be left behind. That was her statement. And of course, it's good to see people who are open-minded. And I think this been my prayer for African leaders, and especially people who are in those offices where they can make law and see blockchain and digital currencies in news. Because if we don't really take part in what is happening across the globe, we're gonna lose it. So she said, my call for the central bank is that should start working on that development. The central bank should be ready for the changes and not be caught unprepared. And I think this is a very good move from the Tanzanian president, Madam Suluhu. Moving on to Netherlands. As we are talking about cryptocurrency regulation and stuff, Netherlands should regulate crypto instead of banning it, says finance minister. So there were talks where I think one of the leaders there wrote and said that they should ban cryptocurrencies. And the finance minister came back and said, instead of us banning cryptocurrency, we should regulate it. And of course, during Louis' presentation, you've seen how hard it will be for people just to come and regulate cryptocurrency just like that. You need to understand it first for you to regulate it. So from Netherlands, we go to Russia. From Netherlands, we go to Russia. And Russian foreign minister states crypto might play a significant role in settlements. And of course, if you see any person talking positive about crypto, it means governments are looking forward to also regulation, making it more available to people, education and such stuff. So of course, for them, they are looking at crypto in terms of settlements, bank settlements, international settlements and stuff. Of course, we know one of the major advantages of cryptocurrency is lesser fees, especially if you're using USDT. You can even send a whole lot of money, even $1 million. If you're using like TRC20 Tron network, you only pay $1. So it's amazing. So you can move money anywhere in the world at lesser fees, and the security is there. And these some of the things that Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies allow. So of course, the Russian foreign minister says crypto will help big time in terms of settlement. From there, we go to, of course, India. And of course, Louis talked about these, and there has been a lot of back and forth in India about cryptocurrency, banning them, again saying, we have not banned them. And okay, now we read proposed crypto ban registration reportedly under review by Indian government. They had reportedly banned cryptocurrency, but now they are back on the table again to really work on solutions of not banning but regulating. Authorities in India are reportedly weighing up options concerning crypto regulations in the country. So you can see not only one country is thinking of crypto regulation, because innovation precedes regulation. There's no way you regulate something that is not there in the beginning. So Bitcoin and cryptocurrency has proved it's not going anywhere for the last 12 years. So it's the high time now, and you can see not only one government is thinking about crypto regulation, it's every government, because the beauty about decentralized blockchain is that whether the government wants it or not, people will still use it because we live in a global village. I can be in Kenya, I'm buying a car in Europe or even in Japan, and I can use cryptocurrencies. Very easy, I can do that. So regulation will come in terms of how do we also, like people who are in the crypto, how do we pay taxes? How do we make returns and stuff? So India, of course, they are weighing option of coming up with regulations. We are yet to see how that will go. Moving from there, we go to New York, and there was a bill banning crypto mining for 3 years dies in New York State Assembly. So there are people who had proposed to ban crypto mining in New York. And of course, the bill never went anywhere. So the New York State Assembly needs to approve any bill or propose amendments before it can be signed into law by Governor Andrew Cuomo. So basically, you can see this bill will be requiring miners in the New York to halt any operation for 3 years as part of a apparent effort to slow environmental impact of crypto has been defeated in the state legislature. Because this is another thing, and I think it's Elon Musk who started this, saying a lot of people who do mining don't use clean energy. And of course, it's brought a lot of discussions if you go like on Twitter and stuff. And it's been proven that 73% of all Bitcoin mining power is clean. So these are some of the things that you'll note. Some leaders will just come and state something without really like verification, just because they don't understand. And that's why this session is here, so that we can share, we can talk, we can discuss. We get to understand, like if I read something negative on the media, how true is that? How true is that in the way? So this bill is not going anywhere. It was it died at the state assembly. So moving on, of course, good news. Senator of this place called Uomi in the US, Cynthia Loomis, she says, I'm all in Bitcoin. So this is another state in the US, and the US Senator Cynthia Loomis, in an interview, she said she was all on Bitcoin, all in on Bitcoin. The interview took place at the Bitcoin conference early in the year in Miami. I think it was 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago. And for her, she said Bitcoin will help also the state, the state of Wyoming to go to the next level. So you can see these are people who are looking forward to how can we incorporate cryptocurrency and Bitcoin to our ecosystem or to our system to help us grow to the next level. Moving to Paraguay, in terms of also regulation, I think most of the news I've chosen today is just based on what Luis shared with us, crypto regulation. So Paraguay official plans to legislate Bitcoin next month. This is a very good move. And I think this came after what happened in El Salvador, where they made Bitcoin a legal tender. So Carlitos Antonio Rejala Helma says that Paraguay will create Bitcoin legislation in July. This is a very good move. I like what is happening across the globe. I like what is happening across the globe. I like the fact that people are looking forward to regulating and making Bitcoin something legal. So we go back to US, and US Republican Party's election to accept cryptocurrency donation. And this is huge for me, because if you see parties that form the government, accepting cryptocurrency as donation, it tells you something that cryptos are not going anywhere. So if you're here and you don't believe in Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, kindly learn. And this is the reason as why we have these sessions, learn. So they said they're going to accept crypto donations. So we go to El Salvador. I think this was one of the biggest news last week. And of course, El Salvador government discussing paying salaries in Bitcoin. I think this is something so huge because you can imagine you're getting paid in salaries in Bitcoin. It's an asset. You just use what you need and you save wherever you have. It's like somebody paying you, if you're in Kenya, it's like being paid with a piece of property or gold. You just use what you need and then you keep the rest, and the rest, of course, will in time it will appreciate in value. Moving on from there, we go to again in Salvador, and I like the fact that the Central American biggest multilateral development bank to help El Salvador with Bitcoin implementation. This is after they announced that they're gonna use Bitcoin as a legal tender last week. So moving on to China, I'm just highlighting the news that just happened. China debates blockchain-based digital yuan salary payments in Zhejiang. So you can imagine, China, what they did is that they banned Bitcoin, came up with the CBDC, central bank digital currency, gave every person a wallet that came from the central bank. And now you can see what they're doing. You can be paid salary now using the digital yuan. And I think this is what's going to happen in a lot of countries. You're going to see in the next like 5 to 10 years, I think we'll go to a cashless society where like you won't touch or see money physically, but you'll be able to transact wherever you are in the whole world. So this is a good move. China is not stopping with the digital yuan. They are really totally pushing it out to the people. We come back to Africa, and this good news, Nigeria Central Bank plans CBDC pilot launch before the end of 2021. Look how this funny is. Number one, China bans Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. They make their CBDCs. Just a few months ago, Nigeria had said no cryptocurrency trading. And now what are they doing? They are planning to come up with their central bank digital currency. So I usually say, don't listen to what they say, watch what they do. There's a saying that says that because most of the time, whatever they talk about is not for you, it's for them. So, but this is big for Africa. I can't wait to see more African countries coming up with their CBDCs. So the Central Bank of Nigeria says it's gearing up to test a sovereign digital currency to ease foreign remittance restrictions. This is big. This is good news for all of us in Africa. From there, we go to one thing. I know if you've noticed, Bitcoin moved. I think we are down what percent currently? Around 50. Around 50. It's from 68 to, I think today we are at 35. That's around 50 something percent since the all-time high of 68,000. But look at this. The last 25 days, millionaire whales gobbled up 90,000 Bitcoins. They bought 90,000 Bitcoins. The funny thing is, a lot of us are scared, and most of us are even liquidating our assets. Do you think you should be liquidating or you should be accumulating? This is not a financial advice, but looking at what is happening, whales appear to be accumulating in anticipation of higher prices, with millionaire whales increasing their holding by 90,000 Bitcoins in just 25 days. Let me just mute. There's somebody who have their mic on. Sorry about that. So you can see whales are not sleeping. They know a correction downwards is time for you to load your bags. It's not time for you to exit the market. And this tells you what is happening. From there, we go to Spain. And the second biggest Spanish bank, BBVA, launches Bitcoin trading app for private customers in Switzerland. This is huge. This is huge. And this tells you that cryptocurrency, blockchain and cryptocurrency space is growing. And I won't say slowly right now, because each and every other time, if you check the news that are coming, it's not it's not like Lawrence or Louis or Carol buying Bitcoin, individuals. Now it's institutions. And when you talk about institutions, they're not buying just small portions of Bitcoin. They're buying, huge uh, amounts of Bitcoin. From there, we go to another digital asset management company over here, and $19 trillion firm have bought Bitcoin. Digital asset manager reveals $19 trillion firms have bought Bitcoin. And this is the reason that's why I think last week we were talking about a bear market and bull market. And for me, I say that I still believe in a bull market. I still believe in a bull market, because if you see the amount of money that is being coming into cryptocurrency space currently, it's huge. It's huge. And I do look forward to what's going to happen in the next few years. General Motors, we all know General GM. GM says, of course, they may start accepting Bitcoin. General Motors may start accepting Bitcoin if there's customer demand, says CEO Mary Barra. So you can see companies now are opening up to accepting Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. And this is great news, because General Motors is one of the biggest companies in the whole world. From there, we go to Morgan Stanley. Morgan Stanley, one of the biggest banks in the whole world, is set to expand Bitcoin fund option. So NYDIG and FS Investments have filed paperwork with SEC for Bitcoin investment fund. Morgan Stanley is ready to refer its clients. So this is huge, and you can see the growth of cryptocurrency is maturing. And I think some of the things we discussed today, in the next like 1 or 2 years, we won't be talking about them. It will be like, now this is obvious. Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies is obvious. Digital currencies, they are everywhere. From there, and this is another great news. Hedge funds expect to hold $312 billion in crypto by 2026. This is good news. And of course, I look at it from the point of there will be less supply, because hedge funds don't buy cryptos to sell the next day. They're not traders. These are holders. They are investors. They're not traders. So you can imagine in the next, like by 2026, how much will be one Bitcoin? You can only imagine. And then to end my news, I think I'll end my news with good news. And this is a survey that was done a few days ago. And you can see Africa leading Bitcoin peer-to-peer trading volume growth in 2021. And I think based on these, I've seen the owner of Space and Twitter, Jack Dorsey, really interested in the crypto growth in Africa. A few days after he announced that he might leave Twitter for Bitcoin ecosystem full-time, just to help develop and support it. So I usually say, if you're here and you don't believe in cryptocurrency, you can see Africa is leading. So who is Africa? Who are these people who are doing peer-to-peer trading in Africa? So this is amazing. This is good news to see, of course, Africa leading the whole world in terms of Bitcoin peer-to-peer volume. And you can see it's recorded $17 million in May. Just in May, $17 million. Peer-to-peer is a transaction, buying and selling from one person to another. Trading volume in Africa is huge. So that ends my session, my sharing. I didn't want to share a whole lot of other news. In case you need any news over here, you can always ask for the share. I hope you've learned something today about regulations and stuff. You can see a whole lot of countries are looking forward to regulating Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, so that it can ease the way people interact and also how they use it. I can tell you there's a big, like here in Kenya, if you mention to your bank that you're using Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, your account is shut. And these are some of the things I'm like, you cannot fight technology. Why don't we like what Madam President of Tanzania did, telling the central bank, why don't you be open-minded? Why don't you go all out and learn so that you can make it easier for people to transact. Because whether you like it or not, people are still going to buy Bitcoin. People are going to still interact in other ways. Why don't we be part of the ecosystem that is growing? So I think that's one of the things I'll urge. And I look forward to, not really urge, I look forward to seeing a crypto-friendly kind of environment in Africa. Because I think a whole lot of other countries out there, it's very easy to interact, to buy, sell cryptos, easy. So that ends my session. In case, let me see whether there's any question. I think Louise has answered everything that was there. So I just want to wish you a blessed weekend. Blessings for you and your family. May you prosper in everything that you're doing. Let's meet again next week for Bitcoin 101. If you have any session, if you have any other a topic you want us to share, feel free to share with us. So back to you, Louise. Have a great weekend.
All right. So yeah, thank you, Lawrence, for the news brief. I think that was very straightforward, and you can see how what is happening out there. So to Wilfred, Christine, Alex, Jamal, Ibrahim, Carol, Mohammed, and Shakila. I don't know whether you have any question, Anthony. I think I don't know whether you're still there. If you have any question or anything that you may want us to clarify, just give us a thought. So Mohammed is asking, what do you think of Dogecoin? Yeah, so that's a good question. I think in the sense of Doge being a utility cryptocurrency, it has no utility, meaning it has no useful use case in the society. But of course, in terms of speculation, as a speculative cryptocurrency, that of course you can know how to do it. If you want to of course trade or rather buy it, depending on how the price is moving, yeah, you can make money out of it. But of course, you can also lose money on it again. So Dogecoin is a cryptocurrency that has it has a huge following. So you need to know when to buy it and when to sell it. And of course, this is not financial advice. We are just trying to give us a view from where we are sitting. So that is our thoughts on Dogecoin. It's like any other cryptocurrency that is going up and down. But for our side, it has no really. You cannot compare it with Ethereum. You cannot compare it with Bitcoin. You cannot compare it with what maybe if I mention a few, Canadian ADA. You cannot compare it with Zcash or Dash. It has no use case, but of course it has a big following. So with that, there are people who like to of course trade that. That is hope that answers you, Mohammed. So any question that you may have. This is the time before we come to a close. And remember, we have our Telegram channel. I think I've posted the link over there, whereby you get to get a daily analysis on how the markets are doing, how what to expect in the coming week. It's for free. We're not charging anything. We're just here to give you. We're just trying to compress information that is there within the day and within the week to just one session of 1 hour. So that's what we are doing here. So yeah, thank you very much. So with no further question, I think we will close there. Have a blessed weekend ahead and see you next week. Thank you and bye bye.